Okay, today we are going to look at another way of solving linear ordinary differential equations, and we are going to use a series approach to finding the solutions. So, for example, let us try to start with a simple differential equation. So, by now, you should be able to solve this second order differential equation by simple methods that we have studied till now. So we can very easily see even by inspection that how the solution would look like. So we have a second derivative term and then the y itself, and sum of them is equal to 0. So basically we are looking at a function y which has a second derivative of the same form or of the negative of the original function. So if y is some function, then the second derivative should be negative of y. So what kind of functions are these? So we know that there are two functions, a sine and a cosine. So the derivative of sine is cosine, and taking another derivative, the second derivative of sine would be minus sine. So basically minus sine plus sine would be 0, and similarly sine and cosine are two such functions. So we know that the solution to such a differential equation would be would be sum of a sine term and a cosine term. So it means we are pretty familiar with solving such type of differential equations very easily. So in learning a new technique, we would take an example or a case that we already understand. So it would prove to be a good starting point. So in series solutions, instead of taking up functions, we instead try solutions that are series, that are a series of x. So remember this function y is a function of x here. So let us try y of x, this function, to be a series in x. So for example, we have a series, summation sign, everybody is familiar with this, and the nth term in the summation would be where n varies from 0 to infinity. So there are infinite terms possibly, and the nth term is some coefficient and then x raised to the power n. So let us try this to be our expression for the solution that satisfies this differential equation. So if this is indeed a solution, then it should satisfy it, and we should take the second derivative of this thing. And when we take the second derivative of an xn, the first derivative would be an xn minus 1, and the second derivative would be n into n minus 1 an x raised to the power n minus 2. So this would be the second derivative. When taking the first derivative, this n is equal to 0 means a0 x0, x0 is 1. So basically that is a constant term. For n is equal to 0, this is a constant term a0. And for n is equal to 1, it is a1 xn. So if somebody has a problem with this notation, one should know that this is basically representing a series like this: a constant term plus a1 x raised to power 1 plus this is x raised to power 0, a2 x raised to power 2 plus, and so on. So basically when we take the second derivative of this thing, this becomes 0, this becomes 0. The series starts with n is equal to 2. So for n is equal to 0, this would be 0. N is equal to 1, this would be 0. So this starts from n is equal to 2 and goes up to infinity. This is the second derivative term. And what is that original function itself? Is the same thing. N is equal to 0 to infinity. an xn is equal to 0. Now we have a sum of two series, this infinite series and this infinite series. We add them together and get a 0. The challenge here is to write such summation of series in a way that we can represent them by a single series. So we have to combine both these terms and write a single series expression. So how to do that? Here we have a summation from 0 to infinity, here from 2 to infinity. So we should try to convert both of the terms with a summation that starts from the same value, goes up to infinity. So how to do this? We can rewrite this term and such that it starts from n is equal to 0 and goes up to infinity. So this term, for where n is 2, should be actually produced from this writing of this expression for n is equal to 0 as well. So if we put n is equal to n plus 2 here. So if we replace every n here by n plus 2, we can write it with this summation. So n becomes n plus 2. N plus 2 minus 1 is n plus 1. A n is actually n plus 2. And x raised to power n plus 2 minus 2 would be n plus I hope you have understood how to do this. So because we wanted the first term to be defined for n is equal to 0 rather than n is equal to 2, we just added 2 to all the n's in this term and got, so n is replaced by n plus 2 and this is what we got. Now we have the same summation signs, so we can combine them in one. We can write the summation from 0 to infinity and combine the two terms, n plus 2 into n plus 1, a n plus 2 plus a n x raised to power n is common in both of them is equal to 0. So when we have a series equal to 0, so we have a series here. If we put values of 0 in here and then 1 and 2, we get coefficients of the terms of x, x0, x1, x2 and so on. So when a whole series is equal to 0, it can only be equal to 0 either if x is 0, but taking x as 0 is a trivial solution and we are not interested in that solution. So a whole series can be equal to 0 means all these coefficients are 0. I hope you can see that we can get a whole series equal to 0 either by having x equal to 0, and if you closely see that even having x equal to 0 would not be enough. We must need a not equal to 0 as well. Anyway, so if we will later see that if a naught is 0, then a2 would be 0 and a4 would be 0 as well. And all the x being 0 means that the the function y depends on something that is 0. So that is a trivial solution, and we are not interested in that. So if x is not 0, then this whole thing can be equal to 0 only when a naught is 0, a1 is 0, a2 is 0, and so on. So by using the same thing, we can find these coefficients by writing that this thing would be 0, or writing that an would be equal to, this goes to the other side, or rather writing an plus 2 is equal to, this goes to the other side as minus an, and this goes in the denominator, n plus 2, n plus 1. So this is a recursive form of stating the things. So if we know an, we can find an plus 2. So knowing the previous coefficient, the coefficient of a previous term, we can find the coefficient for the for a further term, for a future term. So this is in a way a recursive relationship, or recursive term, or recursive relationship. And this is going to give us all the coefficients of this this series. How? Remember that a second order differential equation comes with two initial conditions. So y at some initial value of x, say 0, is known, say it is y naught, and then y prime at some initial value of x naught, say 0, is given. So let us say it is u naught, and we know this is, we are taking y to be this thing. So y at 0 means y at x0 is the same thing as, if x is 0, all these terms become 0. So y of 0 is a naught actually. So we know what is a naught. This is a free parameter. A naught is known. This is actually the initial, based on the initial condition. And if we take the derivative of this series, the first derivative of this series, this becomes 0, and we get a 1 plus terms involving x. So if we take the first derivative of this y and then put x is equal to 0, we are going to get a1. So this is a naught and this is a1. So we have a1 is equal to y prime 0. So we already know what is a naught and a1. So this means that knowing a naught, a0, we can find a2, and knowing a2 we can find a4, and so on. And knowing a1 we can find a3, knowing a3 we can find a5, and so on. So you see, we can find all the coefficients that are required here, and to find the answer, to find the solution of the differential equation we are looking at. So if we start with a naught, we know this, then according to this expression, this is an important expression in the solution of this differential equation, we know that a1 would be, sorry, a naught, a2 would be equal to, so for n equal to 0, this would be a naught, and a2 would be equal to minus a0 over 2 into 1, 2 into 1. Similarly, knowing a2, we can find a4 to be, a4 n is equal to 2 would be minus a2 over 2 plus 2, 4 into 3. And because a2 is dependent on a naught, so we get minus a naught, which is a naught, over 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, and this is a naught over 4 factorial. Let us find another one. So a6 by this formula would be equal to n is equal to 4. Putting n is equal to 4, we get a6 is equal to minus a4 over 4 plus 2, 6, 6 into 5, 6 into 5, which in turn is minus a naught over 6 factorial, and so on. a8 and a10 and a12 and so on can be found. Similarly, knowing these two free parameters, so let us call these the free parameters, or which are known already. We can find all the other parameters or the coefficients. So in a similar way, a1 would be equal to, a1 is given, a3 would be equal to, for n is equal to 1, a3 is equal to a1 minus a1 over 3 into 2, and a5 would be equal to minus a3 over 5 into 4, and a3 is this thing, so we get a1 over 5 factorial, and so on. Or let us find a7. a7 would be equal to, using this recursive relationship, minus a5 over a7 is for n is equal to 5, 7 into 6, 7 into 6, and a5 itself is 7 into 6 into 5 factors, and we have an a1 here, so minus a1 over 7 factorial. So we can see a relationship here. So looking at the relationship closely, we can therefore write that this solution y of x is equal to a series with these terms. So knowing a naught, we know it does not have a x in it, is a constant, so a naught would be there in all the terms, all the coefficients, so we take out as a reference, and what we are left with, the first term is a naught itself. The second term in this series, a naught, a2, a4 terms, is a naught, a2, x square, so we have x square term here, and because a2 is negative, depends on the negative of a naught, we get minus x square over 2 factorial, and the a4 terms is plus a naught common, x4 over 4 factorial minus x6 over 6 factorial, and so on. So we get a series here of these coefficients, and then another series of these one, plus a1. a1 would be common in all because all the coefficients are defined in terms of a1. And the first coefficient a1 means a1 would have the x in it, so the first term would be x. The second term with a3 would be minus 1 over 3 factorial, not 1, x cube over 3 factorial, and then a 5 term plus x5 over 5 factorial minus x7 over 7 factorial, and so on. So we get the solution y of x in terms of series, two infinite series, or two power series, or Taylor series. And if you already know this, you should know that this series has a name, this series has another name, and you can look it up, brush up your knowledge, and see that this is a cosine series, cos of x, and plus a1 This is a sine series, sine of x. So we arrived at the same solution that we knew would be the answer, but in a series, by using series to arrive at a solution. And this method is quite powerful in that it is not usually dependent on knowing exactly that function that is going to result in that special behavior. Especially up till now, we have been looking at differential equations with constant coefficients. So we have 1 and 1 here, constant coefficients. But what if the coefficients are not constants? We have not looked up till now at such a differential equation. But this series solution approach can also be applied to the differential equations that are not with constant coefficients. And this makes it quite useful. And we are going to look at it today or in these lectures.